Before we get into the nitty-gritty of the specific heat equation and the Q equation, we should review the 4 different units of heat energy and how to convert between them. So in this case, we're only really going through 3, and I'm going to mention a 4th one at the end, which is just building off of joules. So the one you've heard of the most is calories, but with a capital C. So just like in this nutritional label right here, we have calories, but notice the capital C. That says, in this case, it's 230. For whatever food you have, you're going to have a different amount of calories. So then there's also calories with lowercase c and joules. So to start off, calories with a lowercase c is the one we're going to start off with, which is because calorie is basically the amount of heat energy required to raise the temperature of 1 gram of water by 1 degree Celsius, or you could say Kelvin, 1 degree Celsius / Kelvin. Because remember, if you change by 1 Celsius, you're also going to change by 1 Kelvin. If you change by 1 Kelvin, you're going to change by 1 Celsius. So when you think of calorie, you probably think of what we eat, but this original calorie with a lowercase c is actually a much smaller version, because calories are not actually that much energy. So we use the big calorie. So big C, let me write that, calorie, same as the kilo, or let me actually call it also called the kilocalorie. If you know from like kilograms and kilometers, this prefix kilo means 1,000. So basically 1 calorie is equal to 1 kilocalorie, which you might see in some nutritional labels, especially from like Indian stores. I've noticed a number of ones which will have in kilocalories, which is the same as, remember, kilo means 1,000, so 1 kilocalorie is 1,000 small c calories. Alright, so we can use a T-chart to convert between them. So let's use this example right here. So I'm going to make a T-chart first. Let me get some good space. Oh, whoops. Let me get some good space here. And we're going to use a T-chart to convert the 230 big C calories into little c calories. So let's write it right here. We have 230, and we're going to put calories. And we want to get that to little c calories. Remember, to make a T-chart, all you do is put what you know on the left, what you want to convert on the left, and then we put what you want to get changed to on the right. So in this case, we want calories with a lowercase c. So we're going to put calories lowercase c. I'm going to try my best to make that a smaller c. And we have the normal big calories at the bottom. All it's showing is that it's like dimensional analysis. All it's showing is that we're going to be multiplying the top by this small calories and dividing by the big calories. So these 2 units will cross out. So remember, for every 1 big calorie, there's going to be 1,000 small calories. So remember, these calories cross out, and so all we have is 230. Let me take out a calculator right here. Put that right there. So we have 230 times 1,000, and then if you divide by 1, it's going to be the same thing. So it's going to be 230,000. So let's write that. Whoops. Is equal to 230,000 calories. Oops. All right. A simpler way to think of the conversion is just thinking the same way you'd get from kilograms to grams or grams to kilograms. If you want to get from big calories or kcal to small calories, you got to multiply by 1,000. If you want to do the opposite, which you get from small calories to big calories, you have to divide by 1,000. So the other unit that we're going to go over is joules, which is actually the standard unit in science we use for energy. And 1 joule is defined as the amount of energy used when force of 1 Newton moves an object 1 meter. So that's not something that we need to focus on too much. I'm just going to write out this right here. We have 1 joule. That's going to be our SI unit. And the way we convert between calories and joules is that, actually let me write Let me take out the 1 there. So we'll actually do, it's 1 calorie. 1 cal is equal to, that's going to be a small c. 1 calorie with small c. So let me make sure that's a small c. Alright, small c. So you don't get confused. 1 calorie is equal to 4.184 joules. And if we're ever given calories, we can just convert to joules. If we're ever given joules and we want to find our answer in calories, you can convert to calories using the same conversion factor right here. So let's do this by, let's take this 23,000 small calories that we got from that nutrition label, which had 230 big calories in it, and we're going to convert this into joules. And then from that, we'll get that into kilojoules. So let me actually give myself some more space here. So remember, it was 23,000 calories, or 230,000. 230,000. Read that wrong. 230,000 calories. And remember, for every 1 calorie, there is 4.184 joules. So I'm going to make this little T chart. Remember, I want joules, so I'm going to put that conversion factor 4.184 joules for every 1 calorie. I'll put that as cal. So in order to do this, remember the calories, the cal and cal, cross out. It's just going to be 23,000 times 4.184 joules divided by 1. So remember, or sorry, 230,000. Keep calling it 23,000. 230,000, and then we have to do times 4.184. That's going to give us our answer of 962,320. This will be 900. So let's write that here. 962,320. I'll put the comma there to make it clear, and that's joules. So this seems like a lot of energy, which it is a lot. It's just that a joule is actually a pretty small magnitude when you think about everything. So a simpler way you can put it is just call it a kilojoule. So remember that we have a kilojoule, which is kilojoule, or we call it kJ, is equal to, if you think about the prefix kilo, it's just 1,000 joules. So if we want to get from 962,320 joules to kilojoules, we have to divide by 1,000. So I'll just do that pretty simply right here. We have the 962,320. We'll put the J, joules. If we want to convert that to kilojoules, remember we put the kilojoules right here. And then we have the normal joules right here. So for every 1 kilojoule, there is 1,000 joules. So all we're doing here is we're going to do this 962,320 times 1 divided by 1,000. So remember, the joules cross out. Joule divided by joule is just 1. So let's do this right here. So we have this 962,320 divided by 1,000. And that's going to give us 962.32. 962.32, and then the unit is kilojoules.